Narrator voiceover. The atmosphere in the studio was tense from the start. Sackur, a journalist famed for holding world leaders accountable, opened the interview with a pointed question about Harry's controversial memoir and his decision to step back from royal duties. Stephen Sackur, clip. You've spoken about your struggles with the monarchy and the media, but some critics say your actions have caused harm to the very institution you claim to respect. How do you respond to that? Narrator voiceover. Harry, visibly composed, initially attempted to answer diplomatically, discussing the pressures he and Meghan faced and the need for personal freedom. Prince Harry, clip. It was about protecting my family and ensuring that my children grow up in a safe, loving environment. That's what any parent would do. Narrator voiceover. But Sackur wasn't satisfied. With incisive follow-up questions,
He pressed Harry on the inconsistencies in his statements.
and whether his portrayal of the royal family was fair. Segment 2, The Confrontation, 235. Narrator voiceover. The turning point came when Sackur confronted Harry about the claims made in his public statements versus the palace's version of events. This moment shocked viewers worldwide. Stephen Sackur, clip assertive. You've described certain members of your family as unsupportive or even cruel. Yet some say your accounts contradict previous statements. Are you rewriting history for personal gain? Narrator voiceover. Harry paused, visibly caught off guard. He tried to defend himself, explaining that his experiences were genuine and that he was sharing his perspective honestly. But Sackur continued the relentless questioning. Stephen Sackur, clip leaning forward. So, you admit that some of your claims could be subjective? That they might not reflect the full truth? Narrator voiceover. Harry's attempt at a measured response was met with immediate scrutiny. Sackur's tone was sharp, leaving little room for evasion. Critics say this is the point, where the interview became a public humiliation for the prince. Prince Harry, clip. I can only speak to my experience. That's all I can do. Stephen Sackur, clip firm. But experience can be interpreted differently by others. Are you concerned that your narrative might damage relationships that could otherwise be repaired? Segment 3, Public Reaction, 5:7. Narrator voiceover. The interview quickly went viral. Social media exploded with opinions, debates, and memes. Many argued that Sackur's line of questioning exposed inconsistencies and forced Harry to confront uncomfortable truths on live television. Cut to tweets and social media reactions on screen. Narrator voiceover. Some viewers praised Sackur for his journalistic rigor, while others criticized him for being too aggressive. But one thing was clear. The world saw a side of Prince Harry that is rarely publicized. Tense, defensive, and under pressure. Social media clip overlay. Sackur didn't let him off easy. Brutal but fair. Harry seemed flustered. Finally, someone asked the tough questions. HardTalk lives up to its name. Harry was on the defensive the whole time. Segment 4, Key Highlights and Humiliation. Moment, narrator voiceover. Perhaps the most talked about moment came when Sackur asked Harry about his relationship with the British press. Harry has long criticized media intrusion, but Sackur challenged him on whether his actions had contributed to the ongoing controversy. Stephen Sackur, clip challenging. You criticize the press, yet your memoir and interviews are highly publicized. Isn't there a contradiction here? Narrator voiceover. The prince's attempt to defend his media choices fell short. Sackur's piercing follow-up left Harry momentarily speechless. Stephen Sackur, clip. So, are you saying it's acceptable to criticize the press publicly while also seeking public attention through your own narratives? Narrator voiceover. Viewers noted Harry's body language, tight lips, shifting in his chair, brief pauses, as indicators that he was struggling under Sackur's scrutiny. Experts called this a masterclass in journalistic pressure, and many suggested it was a rare moment of vulnerability for a member of the royal family. Segment 5, Analysis and Takeaways. 9 total delivered into Narrator voiceover. BBC HardTalk is known for tough interviews, and Stephen Sackur's style is unforgiving. In this encounter, Harry faced questions that challenged his narrative, his decisions, and his image. For many, it was a moment of accountability rarely seen in royal circles. Expert clip, political analyst or commentator. HardTalk is designed to push subjects beyond rehearsed answers. Harry was polite but clearly uncomfortable. Sackur's approach forced him to confront contradictions in his own story. Narrator voiceover. Some commentators argue that the interview may change public perception of Prince Harry, showing him not only as a sympathetic figure, but also as someone who struggles under intense scrutiny. Others view it as a misstep, suggesting that Harry appeared defensive and vulnerable. Narrator voiceover, closing lines. One thing is certain, the HardTalk interview will be remembered. Stephen Sackur proved why he is one of the most formidable journalists in the world, and Prince Harry learned firsthand the pressures of facing direct, unflinching questions on a global stage. The world watched as the Duke, usually in control, faced perhaps the toughest audience of all, Stephen Sackur. Fade out with a montage of the heated interview moments, Sackur's intense gaze and Harry's uneasy expressions. Narrator voiceover. Love him or criticize him, this interview will be dissected for years to come. And in the world of royal scrutiny, few have seen a confrontation quite like this.